Hello, a new trip today. I'm gonna travel to Big Chute, which is a boat crossing on a Trent-Severn canal, where they basically pick the boats out of the water and transfer them into the higher elevation canal. That should be interesting. And then after that, I'm gonna go to this monastery church that was established in 1650s, where there were some French newcomers to Canada that they lived there in that area. It's now a pilgrim destination here in Canada. It should be interesting as well, and I'm looking forward to see it. So come with me. is really amazing. What happens here is that they have this almost like a cart on wheels. They drive the boats right in, and then with the cables they are dragged, and then they go all the way down to that elevation, which is pretty amazing. Yeah, really cool. See, the first boat is in, now the speedboat is next. Let's go. We are at the lower part now, and you can see how the boats are coming in. They're gonna get suspended on this deck here, and then they're gonna go all the way up there. So I got here to Sainte Marie of the Hurons. The place was opened in 1639, and I got a guided tour. I'm looking forward to see what this is about, so let's go.
The Hurons, this is a Catholic mission from around 1639 to 1649 to the Wendat people. So the hopes was in having this here that they would be able to convert the Wendat people to Catholicism. This was done by the Jesuits. Now, before 1639, the Jesuits had already been in this area. They've been living among the Wendat people themselves, but they wanted a central headquarters. And so with kind of the blessing of the Wendat, they built this here at the heart of Wendake. So this would serve as an example of European and Christian life in hopes that when the Wendat came by, that they would kind of see the new technologies like the blacksmith. Now, the Haudenosaunee had exhausted their beaver supply. And what you would get from beaver is you'd get things like guns, arquebuses, pieces of metal, some more metal implements, which they would have been using because their technology was a little more bone, stone, wood. Just as we walk through here, on our right we have our soldiers' barracks, and on our left we have what we call our flushing area. So we had around 10 or so soldiers staying here on site at the time, and that actually would be for protection. For a little bit, then you get out, supplies on your back, walking for a bit, and then back in. And the Haudenosaunee multiple times do blockade the St. Lawrence, blockade those rivers, but we need those precautions to get through, so the soldiers would be on there for protection against attacks. The French at the time were using salt as their preservative. There's not much salt in the region here, so they would be using smoke instead. You have all your furs, things like that here as well. So you're drying those out, especially the beaver furs, as those we use for making hats. It's like archaeological evidence, things like that, to aid in how they would have been built. So first off, archaeological evidence. So we would have been doing digs in the ground. They found things like, for example, in our cookhouse, where we'll go in a second, they found pieces of chicken bones, pieces of fish bone, and that probably told us that, okay, this was the cookhouse.
Over here, yes, they're filming over here.
What's your stuff, honey?
That's it. Oh.
Looking out for you.
And you also have more people in the gate, and so more people are fighting
So welcome to our cookhouse. This is where our chef at the time, his name was Ambrose Brouet, would have been cooking for the 66 men who were here on site. He actually slept in that corner back over there. You might think, well, isn't he breathing in all that smoke? That's probably not very healthy for him. Around 65% of their diet. Yeah, those are real. I wouldn't recommend touching them too much because they do have stuff on them just to keep them from degrading, but they'll be alright. Just wash your hands after. So the corn would be around 65% of their diet. So a large part of their diet was just corn. And it's not like the corn we have today. What we have today is called sweet corn. It's like corn on the cob. You can bite into it. This, you could not bite into it. Or cornbread. And that's what they would be having most of their diet. They grow corn together with two other plants, beans and squash. They called those together the Three Sisters because they did something we now call partner planting, meaning they plant them together in these mounds. Your corn will go up around like this, your beans are out like a trellis, and your squash at the bottom giving it nutrients and protecting it from small animals. I'll actually see an example at the very end of the tour where you have something you want. So you probably take a calf. Normally when he first got here was a bit smaller, so you take them when they're a calf, you blindfold them to keep them calm as well as tying their hooves together, and then off you go. Part two, they have dug out in years past, not this year, but years past they have dug out inside, and then you have to catch them and put them back in. So we've got here at 4 in the morning to do morning prayers, and that's until 8 o'clock.
That's tomorrow. 4 hours.
4 hours. We went in prayer. river is much lower than here on site. It comes in through here, raise that lock here, raise that lock, bring them all the way in. We actually, earlier on in the summer, we used that canoe to do that. That's pretty cool, but that's probably not what it's been used for. The reason is that canoe is kind of our canoes today. Probably fit in here quite fine. However, canoes back then, 25 feet long, 5 feet wide, not going to fit in here.
There it goes.
Yes.
So now that it's burning away, I take my cedar nesting.
Mm-hmm.
Glad that one went out. I thought it looked like it was floating right over here.
Magic.
See that right there? She's like a dragon.
That's cool.
She made fire with her mouth. Dragon.
So the canoe is from cedar. Today what we use is just, you actually just take like
Yeah. Good job.
Told you to see a fire. Thanks, Elliot.
They would have been working on all the clothing, things like that. So talks about the other buildings. We have some evidence for what other buildings were used for, such as like blacksmith shop, chicken, fish bones in the cookhouse. However, this one's a little more shaky. They found a pair of scissors in the ground. You can actually see it in the museum later. And that could mean that this is the shoemaker tailor shop. We also all own scissors. Try the clothing necklace for people, also not on my tour. You guys are more than welcome to. You try it on, take pictures with it. I just ask that it goes back where it belongs after. But I will see you guys in 10 minutes. Yeah, sure.
How do you make this
At that time, it would be made out of, so the double is made out of wool, so sheep, and then you would just import it over here. It wouldn't be made on site, it would be imported over from France, so. Yeah.
You would make it here.
No, you wouldn't make it here, you would just import, you spoke to the Wendat about Christianity. So, some things we can notice about this church that are different than churches nowadays, or churches even back then, are a couple things. First, we got dirt floors. That's not common in churches nowadays, or churches back then. And the dirt floors would be to make the Wendat feel comfortable. That's actually what most of the church is designed to, is make the Wendat feel comfortable, make them want to come in and listen. So the Wendat had a very high view of nature. They believed that a lot of things in nature had spirits in them, and so they felt it was a bit disrespectful to nature just to waste wood by putting it on the floor. Just putting it on the floor to be walked all over. Why would I do that when the earth has already given me a nice dirt floor? So the one French stone is the headstone there. His name is Jacques Duarte. He was killed by a Wendat apostate, so a Wendat who was a Christian but leaves the faith. And he leaves the faith and decides to kill this man because the French had brought the disease, and the disease had killed his family. And so he resolves to kill the first Frenchman he finds this man, and he kills him. Actually also can be trapped in heat. So you want actually as much smoke as possible. You actually have those doors much lower. You have to crawl in and out of them to get in here. And you have two other fires going at each kind of, see where the smoke light are, there'd be one more down there with the fire, and we're down here with the fire. That meant when all those fires were going, the smoke line would actually be probably right here. So people sometimes guess, well, maybe they slept up on these things. They kind of look like bunk beds to us. But that's not the case, because if you actually right in the smoke line, you'd be breathing in all that smoke that'd be just used for storage. You'd actually be sleeping on the ground on these things here called corn husk mats. And this wouldn't be located on site. Most likely it would actually be located across the river. And that's because that's where traditional Wendat medicine men would be located. And the French at this point are in direct competition with these guys. They don't like them. So this would be kind of seen as an alternative. You're going to soak it for 3 to 4 months. This actually was sitting here for 3 to 4 months in this box in our museum before I brought it down here. And that's going to be able to make it bend like that and get it nice and strong. Yeah, you can feel like it's fairly strong. And so that's how you're going to make your canoe like that. You're going to tie it together with your rope, things like that. And Brebeuf actually writes in kind of canoe etiquette or instructions for Jesuits who are coming on the journey. And that's because there's some things you didn't want to do. So he's like, do not wear your shoes in the canoe. And that's because we talked about big clunky shoes. If you take a step in too hard, straight through the middle.
So this was pretty cool. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I enjoyed it very much. Lots of history here. 1650s. I got to see how the Jesuits, the first people coming from France, lived here in the conditions, how they tried to establish a relationship with the locals. A lot of history. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode today. Thank you for watching, liking and subscribing, and until next time I will say don't forget to take a hike. All the best. Gelone out.